Do you know how scary it is when a zombie becomes self-disciplined? His name is Zombie, age unknown. Time of death unknown. He only remembers the first day of the zombie outbreak. He became one of them when he didn't have time to escape. Afterwards, he wandered around with his kind until one day, humans appeared with weapons that emitted blue light. From then on, the zombie army was defeated and scattered. Some zombies have even been enslaved by humans and turned into perpetual motion machines. Zombie doesn't understand why zombies always have to eat people. I also don't understand why humans want to exterminate zombies. But he knows that if he wants to survive, he must become stronger. From that day on, Zombie began his disciplined life. He either swims around the earth several times every day, or lifts several tons of weight consecutively. Even protein powder he eats as food. Even in the evening, he has to do aerobics in front of the TV for a few hours. That's how Zombie became bald. He also became stronger at the same time. But despite that, he still only wants to be friends with humans wholeheartedly. He is striving to fulfill this dream. He once rescued human infants from a great fire. He even caught a plane by hand to prevent a major disaster. When faced with an approaching speeding train, he only needs one punch to solve the problem. He wants to get along better with humans. He gathered all the zombies in an abandoned city, and he also asked them to eat eggs every day. However, that day Zombie was buying eggs in the supermarket, but he found that his sidekick was on the wanted list again. At the same time, there were two journalists on the side secretly taking photos. They didn't believe that Zombie had the ability to lift the plane with his bare hands. But the next second, they were stunned by the scene before them. Just saw Zombie lifting a truck that weighs several tens of tons in one go. Then he jumped in place. He instantly broke through the atmosphere with the truck. After circling around half the globe, Zombie finally arrived at his own territory. The zombies who saw this scene were extremely excited. But two zombie infants beside them asked, "Zombie, why didn't you drive the truck over here?" Zombie replied awkwardly, "Well, actually, I don't have a driver's license." After this embarrassing answer, Zombie went to the gathering place of the sidekicks. By this time, various zombie bosses inside were becoming a bit impatient. But the moment Zombie opened the door, all the sidekicks hurriedly lined up in 2 rows. At this moment, Zombie took out a wanted order and slapped it on D-Dog, saying, "D-Dog, what's going on? How come you are wanted by humans again?" D-Dog broke out in a cold sweat at the words. Then he explained in a trembling voice that he couldn't control himself whenever he encountered humans. At this moment, Bieber on the side also said, "Although our zombie territory is expanding infinitely, we have changed several capitals to evade humans." Saw even suggested the idea of starting a war with humans. He said, "It's been so long. My chainsaw is about to rust." Just as Zombie was about to educate them on the horrors of humans, a deafening roar suddenly came from the sky. It turned out that human fighter jets had already arrived above them at some point. And inside, the girl turned out to be a spirited and charming young woman. At this moment, President on the fighter jet was looking at the screen data in deep thought. At this time, 2 subordinates reported that everything is ready and can take action at any time. The girl slightly tilted her head and asked, "Where is the goods?" So it turns out that a heavyweight nuclear bomb is surprisingly prepared on the fighter jet. She said, "Come on. In 20 minutes, I will level this place to the ground." And at this moment, Zombie, who was below, also sensed the crisis. Saw's eyes flashed with determination. He was about to rush up to fight with them. But Zombie stopped him. He said, "No. You will lose control when you get close to humans. Let's evacuate from here with the zombies first. As for those humans, let me handle them." Not long after, several armed trucks slowly drove in. Their mission is to search for survivors on the ground. At this moment, the cockpit door of the fighter jet in the air suddenly opened. A fully armed young man with white hair was standing in the middle. Facing the groups of paired zombies below, he remained calm. Instead, he threatened to take down all the bosses here. At the same time, elsewhere, a man in white gossip robe was staring at the screen in front of him. He said that the one named Jamin seems to be from the Abnormal Entity Academy. Upon hearing this, the man's mouth curled slightly as he said, "Then let's have some fun with him." After saying that, he pressed a red button. A cage filled with humans descended from the sky. Eventually, it slowly landed in the middle of the zombie group. At the same time, the rescue team received a distress signal from the humans. They then moved up, gradually suppressing them with firepower. Suddenly, a red-haired girl shouted, "Why can't we kill those zombies?" Looking in the direction she pointed, they saw two zombie pups shivering while huddled together. And in front of them stood our male lead zombie. Suddenly, a yellow hair raised a rocket launcher and aimed it towards them. With a swoosh, the missile shot towards Zombie at an incredibly fast speed. In just a moment, he was engulfed by a violent explosion and flames. However, someone then reminded Yellow Hair that they seemed to have bombed the wrong person. This zombie-masked guy seems to be the recently emerging Abnormal Entity. Seeing this scene, Yellow Hair suddenly felt very confused that they had bombed the wrong person. As the white smoke slowly dispersed, Zombie, however, was completely unharmed, standing there, touching his head, with a confused expression on his face. At this time, the president on the fighter jet suddenly noticed the trace of the zombie boss. So he ordered Wade to go to Area B for interception. As soon as her voice fell, Wade immediately leaped from the fighter jet at an altitude of 100 meters. When the rescue team began to evacuate survivors, the man in the white robe in a certain room was about to cause trouble again. He said Jamin did not expect them to actually evacuate the civilians. It seems we cannot underestimate them. Upon hearing this, the man chuckled slightly and said, "Then let's give them something interesting." Green-haired guy immediately indicated that he understood upon hearing this. Later, under his control, a zombie in the group suddenly underwent a terrifying mutation. In no time, it had transformed into a liquor zombie that had lost its sanity. This change caught the attention of the zombies in the distance. Just then, Yellow Hair from the rescue team suddenly sprinted towards Zombie, who looked confused, and grabbed him, running towards their own team. As he ran, he kept muttering that he had saved his life. After throwing Zombie into the car, he hurriedly urged the driver to speed up. And that's how the boss of the zombie circle was successfully rescued out. On the way, the girl asked him why he always wore a zombie mask. Upon hearing this, Zombie looked embarrassed and didn't know how to respond. Meanwhile, the rescue team on the other side started to encounter trouble. They saw a mutated zombie lifting up a bus and then hurling it towards them. Fortunately, Wade appeared at this critical moment. He used only one knife to cut Bart in half. The crowd cheered at the sight. "This is great. Wade from the Academy Blade Club is here to save us." Wade had them evacuate with the civilians first, leaving the rest to him to handle. At this moment, the zombie suddenly let out a roar of agony. Wade seemed to notice that it was in pain. In the moment when the zombie lunged forward, Wade drew the dagger from his hand. He only used a simple parry. The zombie's body surface was covered with countless cracks. Then with a loud bang, the zombie shattered into countless pieces. However, just when he thought he could call it a day early, suddenly a series of footsteps interrupted his thoughts. Wade looked in the direction of the sound upon hearing it. It turned out that Zombie had somehow arrived next to the zombie. "I'm sorry, I ultimately arrived late to hear these words." Wade immediately categorized him as one of the zombies. He then raised the knife and chopped towards Zombie. But the next second, he was stripped naked and hung on the utility pole. At the same time, the short-haired girl on the plane also noticed something unusual. Not good. Wade's vital signs are continuously dropping. The girl who heard this was also stunned. Wade was actually defeated. Damn it. The civilians have not been fully evacuated yet. It's impossible to use nuclear bombs for attack. Then her figure moved slightly. The next second, she had already flashed down from the fighter jet. The man went into battle for the first time to hunt down zombies. Did not expect to be stripped naked and hung on a utility pole. Zombie was looking completely puzzled. Another figure appeared in the sky, speeding towards them. The newcomer was none other than the girl from this time, only to see her quickly draw a sword from her waist. Then she struck Zombie with it. But the next second, that invincible treasure sword unexpectedly shattered with a loud noise. The girl who saw this scene had an unbelieving expression on her face. On the other hand, Zombie had a confused expression on his face at this moment. At this moment, the girl's eyes showed a slight hint of approval. She thought to herself, "What on earth is this all about?" Then she quickly took a step back, creating a few meters of distance between them. Zombie watched this happen, feeling a bit embarrassed by the suddenness of the girl's actions. He then hastily began to explain. "I just apologized a moment ago." Hearing Zombie suddenly speaking, the girl was also greatly surprised. But the zombie was still a zombie, and the girl immediately pulled out a second dagger. She said, "Come on! Let me see what you're capable of." At this moment, Zombie was also speechless. He said, "Can't you humans just listen to me properly?" As soon as he finished speaking, the girl had already swiftly charged at him with a knife in hand. However, her attack missed. She couldn't believe that her proud speed had failed her. Immediately, she executed a 360-degree spin and unleashed her most powerful move, the red blade slash. In just a moment, every place touched by the red light was cut in half. Even the buildings on both sides were not spared. However, faced with such a powerful move, Zombie simply bent over and dodged it effortlessly. She said, "Darn it! Today, I must not leave without finishing you off." The survivors around were also almost done evacuating. Even Wade, who was knocked out by Zombie, got on the car. The assistant on the fighter jet quickly called for President to evacuate immediately. But at that moment, she was engaged in a fierce battle with Zombie and had no time to consider those matters. And Zombie was feeling helpless at the moment, because she could never get a hold of Zombie. Now the girl is almost reaching a state of madness. Just a few moments. A person and a zombie have already passed through more than half of the city. She sees herself unable to catch up with Zombie. The girl immediately activated her second form. Suddenly, a large amount of white gas emerged from her calves. When the charging was completed, she then shot out like a sharp sword. In an instant, she appeared behind Zombie. Then she unleashed her most powerful move. In just a moment, the two of them landed at the same time. So everyone, guess what happened? Will Zombie be injured by this move? When a human nuclear bomb meets the strongest zombie, who will prevail in the end? It turns out it was just now. The girl thought she had taken care of Zombie while he was in contact with the fighter jet. The mysterious force on the other side has started causing trouble again. They actually arranged a spy on the girl's side. Just as everyone was cheering for their successful rescue, the spy on the warplane suddenly activated the nuclear missile launcher. Without hesitation, he pressed it immediately. With the sound of clicking, the next moment, the heavy-duty nuclear bomb dropped from the aircraft. At this point, the spy inside the cabin had already been restrained by two other people. But when they report this message, we will. The crowd all showed looks of fear one after another, watching the nuclear bomb rapidly plummeting down. Now the girl also started to panic. Then she hurriedly opened the ejection device, wanting to jump back to the plane. But the next second, she just stood there stunned. It turned out that the battle with Zombie just now had drained all of her energy, just at the moment when the girl didn't know what to do. At this moment, Zombie suddenly flashed and appeared in front of her. Before she could react, Zombie grabbed her and spun her around on the ground without waiting for her to react. The next second, the girl was thrown up into the sky. Finally, she landed precisely on top of her fighter jet. It took her a while to come to her senses. Suddenly, she panicked when she realized that the zombie hadn't died yet. At this moment, the nuclear bomb is less than a kilometer away from the ground. However, Zombie showed no intention of dodging at all. He lifted his foot and kicked hard. The ground began to crack open around him, with Zombie soaring rapidly into the air like a sharp sword. For the sake of his zombie citizens, he resolutely confronted the nuclear bomb. At the moment right before touching the nuclear bomb, Zombie extended his 5 fingers and then clenched his fist. With a loud bang, he actually smashed the warhead of the nuclear bomb flat. The onlookers watching this scene all showed incredulous expressions. But the next second, a thunderous roar pierced through the heavens and the earth. Along with a huge mushroom cloud rising up, Zombie was completely engulfed in the flames. I don't know how much time passed, when the flames slowly extinguished in the ruins. The girl on the fighter jet suddenly showed a terrified expression on her face, just because they saw a figure falling from the sky. Zombie raised his hand to scratch his head, thinking to himself, "Have to spend money again to buy clothes." At that time, Zombie was worrying about not having clothes to wear. The girl on the fighter jet started to feel depressed. People began to discuss what was wrong with the president. How did he become so decadent? Better not to say. The president fought zombies for a lifetime, but now was saved by zombies. It's hard for anyone to be happy in this situation. However, at this moment, another subordinate suddenly shouted, "You seem to have got it wrong," she explained as she held the information about Zombie. "This guy is not a zombie. He is an abnormal entity who recently likes to wear a zombie mask." Upon hearing this, the girl's face suddenly darkened, looking as if she wanted to devour someone. A figure in tattered clothes appeared in the human city. Zombie quickly teleported to a phone booth when he learned that the sidekicks had safely evacuated. Then he felt relieved. Little did he know, all his actions in the city were being recorded by surveillance cameras. Just as he returned to his rental room naked, the girl on the other side noticed his whereabouts through the surveillance footage. At this time, Zombie seemed to feel that he was being watched. And looking at Zombie's bald head, the girl at the moment is also full of dissatisfaction on her face. On this day, Zombie exercised with the same self-discipline as usual. But the thought of the sidekicks still being homeless breaks his heart. Zombie couldn't help but wonder, "I don't know if they settled down." However, just at that moment, his door was suddenly kicked open by someone. The person who came in was the girl he had saved. She entered and immediately instructed her subordinates to start moving things around. Just as Zombie looked confused, the girl suddenly took out an admission letter and stuck it in front of him. "We are from Abnormal Entity Academy. We're informing you now. You have been admitted. From now on, you are a member of our academy." She pointed a finger at Zombie. Several men in suits instantly stepped forward after receiving the order. But at this moment, Zombie hurriedly protested. "What are you trying to do? Can zombies go to school too?" However, the girl insisted that he was just a human wearing a zombie mask. That's right. Poor Zombie was actually forced to enroll in the Abnormal Entity Academy. At this point, the red-haired girl remarked, "President, isn't it inappropriate for us to recruit people privately like this? Besides, the academy dormitories are already full." Upon hearing this, the president pondered for a moment and then said, "Then let him stay with me for now." When a zombie lives with humans, what kind of chemical reaction will occur between them? It just happened a moment ago. Zombie was originally doing his daily exercise at home. But suddenly with a bang, the door was pushed open by a girl. Before he could react, he was taken to the academy in a daze. Moreover, the other party also said that they would share the same dormitory. Looking at the girl in front of Zombie, he is now full of confusion. He means the woman hasn't spoken for a long time. Zombie tentatively asked, "Will I be living here in the future? And where will I sleep?" She said, Do you have any problems? Do you want to sleep with me? Upon hearing that, Zombie quickly waved his hands to indicate that's not what he meant. But in reality, he still had some fantasies in his heart. However, at this moment, the girl said to him, "You can stay in the room next door in the future." Upon hearing this, Zombie immediately felt a little lost and said, "You might have misunderstood. I am not actually a human." The girl, upon hearing this, did not reply. Instead, she started fiddling with her own little legs. Just as Zombie looked puzzled, the girl actually took off her own little legs. Then she casually explained, "These legs were chopped off by myself." When the girl was young, her village was invaded by a zombie herd. Not only did the girl's parents turn into zombies, but they also bit her on the legs. The girl, in order to survive, had to choose to amputate both of her legs. She also personally killed her parents after they turned into zombies. From that moment on, the girl swore to kill any zombie she encountered. Upon hearing this, Zombie hastily revealed the truth that he was a zombie. At this moment, the girl looked at Zombie and asked, "What were you about to say just now?" "Oh, that. You must have misheard just now. I didn't say anything." To ease the awkwardness, Zombie quickly changed the topic and asked, "What is this abnormal entity academy that you are talking about?" The girl, upon hearing this, did not continue to inquire about the previous topic. Instead, she began to educate Zombie on the history of the academy. It turns out that it has been more than 1,000 years since the zombie outbreak. In order for humans to survive better, the government established the Abnormal Entity Academy. And this academy is specifically designed to train talents to deal with zombies. Upon hearing this, Zombie couldn't help but recall the appearance of himself as a zombie. "I am already 1,000 years old now." At this moment, the girl spoke up again, saying that tomorrow is the registration time for the academy. If you dare to slip away, rest assured that even your underwear will be turned inside out to reveal its color. Also, I'm Zoe. Tomorrow Lily, whom you know, will take you to recognize the road. Hearing this, Zombie had a bewildered look on his face. Do I know this person? Afterwards, what kind of high-energy story will erupt in the academy with Zombie? At this moment, Zombie has such a confused expression that not even the girl next to her could get her attention when greeting her. Lily got anxious this time. Immediately, she launched a barrage of scolding at Zombie. Then she dropped a sentence. "We'll talk later." After the assessment, she stormed into the academy. Zombie saw the situation and quickly caught up with her, asking hastily, "Do you need to take an exam to get into this school?" It turns out that the students at this academy are all individuals with special abilities. And if the assessment criteria are not met, the academy will not accept them. They have arrived at the location of the freshman assessment. By now, hundreds of people have already gathered in the square. And all the freshmen participating in the assessment are peculiar in appearance, one after another. Because there are simply too many freshmen in the square. Lily has to ride on Zombie's head to observe. At this time, Zombie curiously asked, "I have lifted an airplane in front of humans before. Does that mean I don't have to participate in the assessment?" However, Lily told him that lifting an airplane or similar things here is considered quite ordinary abilities. And the teachers in the academy don't even bother to watch the news. An elderly man, with a limp, slowly walked to the podium. He said, "Hello, everyone. I am your examiner this time. You can also call me P Club President Canny." Academy has a history of several hundred years since its establishment. During this period, we have nurtured all kinds of talents. I hope everyone can work hard to train themselves to become outstanding students like their predecessors. However, he had not finished speaking. Zombie in the crowd suddenly asked a question. "What should we do if a zombie sneaks in among the students?" He said, "Of course we need to take it down immediately. And it should be executed publicly." After hearing this, Zombie felt a chill down his lower body. Next, it's time for the assessment. The first assessment is a speed competition. With the sound of the examiner's gunshot, the students rushed out like arrows. It's just 3 seconds. They actually ran 2.5 laps. And at this moment, Zombie on the track looks confused. They quickly arrived at the second level. This time, the assessment project is shooting. Only saw Lily raise the gun handsomely. In 1 second, the heads of the zombies on the target were all shot down. Zombie, who saw the scene, was stunned. How am I supposed to shoot now? Do you know how powerful a serious zombie can be? He casually threw a javelin, and it pierced a hole through the moon. He is named Zombie, a zombie who has lived for 1,000 years. But unexpectedly, he entered the Human Academy. In order to not reveal his identity as a zombie, Zombie could only proceed cautiously and low-key. The grades for each assessment are just passing the passing line. Others need to run the 100 meters in under 8 seconds to pass. He ran 7.95 seconds. Others have to throw the shot over 80 meters. He just managed to throw 80.1 meters. But even so, Zombie's action still caught the attention of the examiners. Kenny looked at the data in his hand and fell into deep thought. Zombie has all subjects at the passing line. But the Blade Club president says he is very strong. Could it be that this person is hiding his strength, or does he have some undisclosed secret? The next assessment is approaching. This time, students will be tested on throwing javelins. Just one red-haired guy exerted all his strength. The javelin shot out like an arrow. In just an instant, the javelin hit the lower body of the zombie target. The only zombie who saw this scene felt a chill over his lower body. Take another look at the javelin. By now, it has pierced through 3 zombie targets in a row. However, even so, the javelin's speed shows no sign of slowing down. It finally landed on a road sign 32 kilometers away. After the assessment by red-haired guy, Zombie took the stage. As they walked by, red-haired guy looked at Zombie with a disdainful expression on his face. However, Zombie did not react much. He walked up and picked up the javelin, preparing for a low-key assessment. But at this moment, Kenny suddenly stopped his movements. This action instantly attracted the attention of countless onlookers. Kenny stepped forward and asked, "You are Zombie introduced by the Blade Club president, right?" She said, "You are very strong. But every time your assessment is just passing. You wouldn't be hiding something, would you? Everyone here is working their hardest, but you seem to be intentionally hiding. Are you a zombie?" Upon hearing these words, Zombie quickly waved his hands to indicate that he is a human. At this time, Kenny added, "If your javelin can be thrown 4 kilometers, I will admit that you are qualified. But if you fail to achieve that, then I will accuse you of plotting treason and send you to the palace for punishment." At this moment, Zombie was completely foolish. Since turning into a zombie, it had been living a life of hiding and seeking. To survive, he also persisted in exercising every day. Because he didn't want to be caught by humans and turned into a perpetual motion machine. At this moment, Zombie thought to himself, "Throw it as far as you can." He raised the javelin in his hand. As the red light shone in his eyes, a powerful force swept through the entire exam room. The javelin had flown into space. With a poopy sound, it directly pierced through the satellite, leaving a chill in the heart. Even so, the javelin continued its unstoppable momentum towards the moon. And at this moment, the students in the examination room were all stunned as the javelin thrown by Zombie took off. Looking at the ground trampled by Zombie's foot, Kenny blurted out dirty words on the spot. "Is this still human power?" At this moment, on the moon, a hole that penetrates the entire moon has appeared. He is the strongest zombie on the surface. Not only can he catch a nuclear bomb with his bare hands, but he can also shoot through the moon with a single shot. However, despite this, he is wholeheartedly only interested in making friends with humans. So he concealed his identity and came to the human academy. Zombie always keeps a low profile. However, the examiner threatened him that if he didn't give it his all, he would send him to the palace for punishment. This made Zombie feel a sudden chill down his lower body. He immediately threw the spear in his hand into the air with seriousness. Unexpectedly, he accidentally made a hole in the moon. This move directly scared the examiner on the spot. At this moment, Lily ran over excitedly. She praised Zombie in front of him, saying how talented he was. Upon hearing this, Zombie felt a little embarrassed and casually mentioned that he just threw it randomly in the air. But what they didn't know was that at this moment, in the far reaches of outer space, a huge meteorite was quietly approaching Earth. And as the ringleader Zombie, he stated that he had been accepted. Can he go home now? Lily hastily recommended him to first establish a club. You know, as the president of a club, you have quite a bit of power. You can not only command an army, but also have access to nuclear weapons. And the official will also give the president the management of a city. As for mayors and such, they are just under the president's command. But Zombie did not think so. After all, he had countless zombie residents under his command. Later, Lily took him to the Biodevelopment Club, which is the logistics department of the academy. It is a place dedicated to researching new types of weapons and equipment. At that moment, Zombie suddenly noticed a photo. It was a warm family photo of a family of 4. Lily immediately introduced. The one wearing glasses is Dr. Jamin. He used to be the president of the Biodevelopment Club. But since his wife died, he has become obsessed with conducting illegal research on zombies and humans. He was ultimately expelled from the academy, and a hunt order was issued against him. At this time, a girl stepped forward and asked, "Are you new students?" Zombie looked at her curiously upon hearing her words. Lily hurriedly told him about the girl, who was an orphan previously adopted by Jamin Botu. She is now the acting president. She then described her intentions to the girl. Originally, Lily wanted an equipment that allows her to pull out a machine gun anytime, anywhere. The girl showed no expression upon hearing this. Instead, she looked towards Zombie on the side and realized that she didn't lack weapons. However, she always ended up with nothing after each battle. Just a piece of clothing that will never break would be great. Upon hearing the requests of the two, the girl had a face full of speechlessness. Meanwhile, over at the Sword Club, I only saw Wade, who had fought earlier, kneeling there receiving criticism. And in front of him was a long-legged girl in black stockings. Wade spoke up at this moment. The person who defeated him is very strong. At that time, he had just rushed up to the person. Immediately after that, he suddenly blacked out and was hung on a utility pole. The girl immediately became interested. She then put down the book in her hand. Slowly moving closer to Wade, she asked, "What is that person's name?" That day, the teacher was explaining how to set traps to catch zombies, while Zombie was busy taking notes. Seeing this scene, Lily couldn't help but walk up and ask, "What are you doing?" Without looking back, Zombie expressed that they were going to share these key points with their family members. Lily, who heard this, looked completely confused.